Hi again. This time we're going to be looking at ratio. This is quite a simple topic, but a lot of people find it difficult for some reason, so I hope I'm going to be able to explain it in a way that you can understand. Hence the reason I've put a PowerPoint up. That'll explain one method, well, two methods actually, and then I'll go through another method because there are two or three different ways they can ask the question. So you need to be able to differentiate between the different ways they ask the question because they need different ways of working out. So ignore the fact that this is been written for Army cadets. It doesn't matter. It's the ratio aspect that we're looking at. So, Joint Service Mounting Leader trainees, otherwise known as MLTs, can take novices on mounting expeditions with a maximum instructor to novice ratio of 2 to 12. In English, that means there's got to be 2 MLTs for every 12 trainees or trainers. Trainees. So 2 instructors to 12 trainees. We can cut that down. If it's 2 to 12, it's 1 instructor for 6 trainees. That's keeping the ratio the same. And it's important that we do that throughout any ratio question, that we keep the ratio the same. We might change the numbers, but the ratio stays the same. Nice pretty picture. Question 1. If 24 novices go on an expedition, how many instructors are needed? That's pretty straightforward, simple ratio. You need 2 for every 12. 24 are going. So if you've doubled that, to keep the ratio the same, you've got to double that. You've doubled that 12 to 24, you've got to double that to 4. Simple. This is the long way of doing it. Simplify the ratio if possible. 2 to 12 becomes 1 to 6, which is what we said at the start. So 1 to 6, how many to 24? This is a long way around, but we're getting there. 6 times 4 is 24. 24 divided by 6 is 4. Are you getting all this? I think my way was easier. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 to 24. We started off with 2 to 12. We doubled the 12 to 24. We doubled the 2 to 4. That's got to be a lot easier than all this rigmarole they're going through here. But you get the idea. It's rigmarole for most people. It makes a lot of sense to other people. So if it makes sense to you, that's fine. I just think it's a long way around when you're on a timed exam. MLTs can take novices on mountain expeditions with a maximum leader to novice ratio of 2 to 12. We know that. They'll keep putting this up just to remind you. Question 2. 21 people are going on an expedition. How many of them must be MLT qualified? What's the difference between those two questions? Number 1 and number 2. Number 1 tells you how many trainees are going, 24. And the question is, how many MLTs do you need? And the answer was 4. This question, it's telling you how many people are going all together, including the MLTs. And they want to know how many MLTs will be going. That's the subtle difference between the questions. So we simplify the ratio again from 2 to 12 to 1 to 6. This time we know that 21 people are going all together. So we add the ratio parts, the 1 and the 6. And for those of you quick on the mark, that is 7. 1 plus 6. Find the value of one part. 21 people are going, divided by 7 parts, gives you 3 per part. So then you can multiply according to the ratio. If it's 3 per part, 3 times 1 is 3, 3 sixes is 18, and you can check 18 plus 3 is 21. So you know you're right, because it works. If that didn't add up, you've done something wrong. If it didn't come back to 21, you've done something wrong. So let's just go through that again. The original ratio is 2 to 12. You can simplify that by halving each side, 1 to 6. Add those 2 parts up and you get 7 parts altogether. 21 people constitutes those 7 parts. So if you divide 21 by 7, you'll see how many people constitute 1 part. 21 divided by 7 is 3. So for every part is worth 3 people. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 6 is 18. That's your working out. It's not the answer. The answer, the question is, how many of them must be MLT qualified? That's this side. 3 times 1 is 3. So the answer is 3. But you can check your answer by adding that 18, 3 times 6, to the 3 and coming back to 21. So you know you're right. And there we've got the final answer, 3 and 18. 3 plus 18, 21. Always set out the ratio problem with headings. Don't always do that. It's not always a good idea. Sometimes it's a good idea, sometimes it's not such a good idea. And I'll show you why in a bit. Simplify the ratio if you can. If it's already 1 to something, then you can't simplify that anymore. When given the value of one of the parts, which we were in the first question, we would enter the information under the correct heading. Apply the same operation to both sides. A bit like fractions, whatever you do to the top, you do to the bottom. With ratio, whatever you do to one side, you must do to the other side to keep the ratio the same. So, apply the same operation to both. So 1 to 6, which was 2 to 12. That's simplified to 1 to 6. What's that to 24? We've multiplied that by 4 to get 24. So we've got to multiply that by 4 to keep the ratio the same. That's how we got to 4 in the first question. And if we've doubled that 4 to get 8, we've got to double that, which would be 48, and that would be in the same ratio as this, by doing the same to either side. When you're given the total quantity of a mixture, or in this case people, in the second question, 21 people, add the ratio parts instead. Because you've got a total there, you were given one there, you were given one side there, but here you've got a total of both. So add the ratio parts, that came to 7 if you remember. Divide to find the value of one part, so divide the 21 by the 7 gives you 3, and then multiply the ratio accordingly. So 3 times 1, and 3 times 6. Just like that. 1 to 6, add them 2 together, gives you 7. 21 divided by 7 is 3. 3 ones are 3. And 6 threes are 18. 18 plus 3, 21. Excuse me, 21. You could be shouting at your screens by now. Yes, I've got plenty. I can't hear you, so we'll just carry on. Try these questions. I like how they split these up into level 1 and level 2. Level 1 question. Using the same ratio of 1 to 6, how many instructors are needed if 30 novices want to go on an expedition? It's 1 to 6. And 30 novices want to go. So if you divide 30 by 6, you get 5. So you go to the same with that. 5 ones are 5. Total of 28 people are on an expedition. How many of them must be instructors? Now we've got a total again. So we've got to do it like question 2. 28 people on the expedition, we're using the same 1 to 6. That adds up to 7. 28 divided by 7 is 4. 4 ones are 4. 4 sixes are 24. 24 plus 4 is the 28 that we started with. So the answer is 4. I'm pretty sure they'll show you the working out for these in a minute. Level 2. Using the same ratio of 1 to 6, how many instructors are needed if 84 novices want to go on an expedition? 84. See if you can do it until the working out comes up. And here's number 2 for level 2. If a total of 69 people are on the expedition, how many of them must be instructors? Again, we've got the total. Add the parts, divide the total by the number of parts, and then multiply as you need to. So, question 1, level 1. There's your ratio, 1 to 6. But now there's 30 novices who are going, 30 trainees are going. How many are you going to need? You've times that 6 by 5 to get 30. You have to do the same on the other side. So you've got to multiply that 1 by 5. 5 ones are 5, so you need 5. There's the method. 30 divided by 6 is 5. 5 times 1 is 5. 30 novices need 5 instructors. That isn't actually the answer, because that wasn't the question. The question was how many MLTs were needed. But anyway, 5 to 30. Question 2 for level 1. There's a ratio again, 1 to 6. Method. The whole has been divided into 7 equal parts, 1 plus 6. Find the value of one part is 4, because there's 28, wherever that went. 28 divided by 7 is 4. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 6 is 24. 24 plus 4 brings you back to 28. And there's the check. Hopefully level 1 students got that right. Level 2, here's yours. Same ratio, 1 to 6. Question mark to 84. What have we done to that 6 to get 84? 84 divided by 6 is 14, so we've multiplied that 6 by 14 to get 84. Or you can divide 84 by 6 to get 14. Either way, you've got to do the same to this side. 14 times 1 is 14. And the answer is 14 to 84. The answer is 14. because that was the question. How many MLTs? Level 2, question 2. Method. Find the value of one part. You've added them up. 7. 69 divided by 7 is 9. Remainder 6. This might have caught some of you out. 7 times 9 is 63, but there are 6 extra people. One of them must be an instructor to keep within the legal ratio. So 6 times 9 is 54, plus the leftover 5. So the answer is 10. For the simple reason, 9 wouldn't be enough. Remember, the ratio is 1 to 6. So if you have 9, you can only have 54. And they've got 63. So you've got to have that extra 1. You can't. Remember, this is functional skills. It's everyday maths, or it's common sense maths. Common sense says you can't have half a person. So you've got to round it up to the extra. Okay, otherwise you haven't got enough people. 10 plus 59 is 69. Job done, because that's how many are going. As long as you keep coming back to the total number, you must be right. If you don't come back to the total number, you've done something wrong, and in this case it's probably something to do with this remainder 6. Okay? Okay, try this one. Again, I apologise for the fact that it's based on Army cadets, but it's an excellent ratio PowerPoint and it can relate to anything. An ammo container holds 200 rounds. The rounds have a ball and tracer mix of 4 to 1. Ignore that. We don't need to know what that means. How many rounds are ball? The wording in ratio is extremely important. They will always be in the same order as the ratio. So ball comes first in ball and tracer. So that's 4. The tracer comes second, so that's 1. And that goes for any ratio question. The wording is extremely important. Whatever comes first in the wording is first in the ratio. Whatever comes second in the wording is the second one in the ratio. So ball and tracer, 4 to 1, 4 ball to 1 tracer is the mix. So how many rounds are ball? Add the pot, you've got the total there, so you have to add the parts. 4 plus 1 is 5. 200 divided by 5 is 40. 4 times 40 is 160. 160 your ball. 40 left, 160 plus 40 is 200. So add the parts, which is 5, divide 200 by 5, you get 40. So each part is worth 40. The ball is made up of 4 of those parts. 4 times 40, 160. And then your remainder of the tracer, which is 40, because it's one part. So the ammo container holds 200 rounds, which have a ball and tracer mix of 4 to 1. How many rounds a ball? How many a tracer? Add the ratio of parts. You get 5. Divide to find the value of one part. So you're dividing 200 by 5, which will give you 40. Multiply according to the ratio. 40 times 4, 160. 40 times 1 is 40, 160 plus 40 is the original 200, so you know you're right. You know your figures are right. Up. 160 ball, 40 tracer. That's it. If you haven't got all that, I know it's a lot to take in, especially when they split the questions into level 1 and level 2, so you've got 4 questions altogether, plus the original 2, so you've got 6 questions on there. That should be more than enough for you to look back at this video, work it out, and be able to work out these answers to all 6 questions. Even if you're level 2, try the level 1 questions as well. And if you're level 1, stretch yourself a little bit. Try the level 2. Why not? It's good practice. And you do it exactly the same way anyway, they're just bigger numbers. What I'd like to do is to get rid of that. Just bear with me a second. Just get rid of that one so that I can show you another exam type of question for ratio that wasn't covered in there. It's almost exactly the same. Well, it is exactly the same, but I'm going to put a bigger ratio in there just to show you that it doesn't matter how many numbers there are, it works exactly the same way. So, what colour are we on? Nothing. Jolly good. And then has okay. A man has £2,100 to divide between his sons, Jack, John and Joe, in the ratio of 4 to 2 to 1. So we've got an extra figure in the ratio compared to the PowerPoint just. How much does each son receive? We've got a total. So we know, because we've got a total, we've got to add the 3 parts of the ratio. So, add the ratio. Four plus 2 plus 1. So the ratio consists of 7 different parts. We've got £2,100. £2,100 divided by 7. £300 per part. 2,100 divided by 7 is 300. £300 per part. So now we can work out the answer. Jack gets. Remember what I said about the wording being important, or the order of the wording being important? Jack comes first. 4 comes first. So Jack gets the 4 parts. John comes second in the list. So he comes second on the ratio parts. So he gets 2. Joe comes last in the list. 1 comes last in the list on the ratio, so he gets 1 part. And all you've got to do then is work all that out. 4 lots of 300 is 1200. 2 lots of 300 is 600. And poor old Joe, he gets 300. And if you add all that up, it comes back to the 2100 that we started with. So it must be right. It can't possibly be wrong. Let's just run through that again. A man's got £2,100 to divide between his sons Jack, John and Joe in the ratio of 4 to 2 to 1. Jack comes first, 4 comes first, John comes second, 2 comes second, Joe comes third, 1 comes third. That's why I keep saying the wording and the order of the wording in these questions is so important. He's there, so he gets that. It will always be in the correct order. How much does each son receive? We've got a total there of 2,100. So we add these up. And they come to 7. Divide your total by 7 so that each part is worth £300. So then you can look at the ratio. Jack gets 4 lots of 300. John gets 2 lots of 300. And poor old Joe, who must have upset somebody, he gets 1 lot of 300. To check your answer, all you've got to do is add up the money that you dished out to the 3 sons, and it all adds up to the 2,100 that they started with. It must be right. Ratio, when you put a bit of thought into it, is easy. It's like everything else. It's easy once you know it. Look at the questions, look at the PowerPoint, look at them once if you get it straight away, 2 or 3 times if it's still a bit sticky. They're only 10-12 minute videos. Take a look. It's great revision. Thanks for watching.